What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Goose Games. It is your boy, the Goose, and the Goose has landed. Ha! And we are here today for my WWE Survivor Series predictions. So I want to get this out of the way right up top because I'm a pretty positive wrestling fan, I think. I'm not one of these people who like scream that I wish it was the Attitude Era and the PG era shit. I'm not about that. I mean, live in the present, live in the moment you have, and be appreciative of what you have. I'm a fan of the current roster. I don't complain about the booking too much. But this whole Survivor Series Raw vs. SmackDown brand supremacy thing is fucking horse shit. Excuse my language. Um, I just hate it. It's literally a month where WWE stops their creative juices essentially and put on a pay-per-view that they call a Big Four pay-per-view. Survivor Series is not a Big Four pay-per-view anymore. It has been firmly replaced by Money in the Bank, in my opinion. This is like a month off for major storylines because it's all these title versus title and brand supremacy and blah blah blah. It's bullshit. There's no stakes. Like literally, what are they competing for? Have them compete for the main event of WrestleMania on the line. Whichever the main event of your show closes Mania if your show wins Survivor Series. Have individual stakes for every match. In 2004, the guys at Cultaholic, they're a British wrestling channel I follow. Join them. They said bring back the 2004 Survivor Series where everybody on the winning team got 1 week to be the GM of Raw. Like Maven did it. He gave himself a world title shot because of course you would. Put some stakes on it and make it fun. Otherwise, Survivor Series just becomes this weird, like, out of canon team up movie that has nothing to do with the rest of the year, and I hate that. I don't think it's fair to the wrestlers. I don't think it's productive for the creative team. I just hate Survivor Series, frankly. So next year, they need to do away with the brand supremacy bullshit. Also, how many of these guys or girls just changed brands for the draft? Why should they have any built-in loyalty? I don't know. Hire me as a booker, WWE. I'm better than half the motherfuckers you have there. Excuse my language again. I said I was going to clean up my language so I could get monetized. I'm nowhere near getting monetized, like probably years away, so when it gets closer, maybe I'll clean up my act, but I don't give a shit. We are going to start off with the traditional Survivor Series women's match. On Team Raw, we have Lana, Shayna Baszler, and Nia, the women's tag team champions. And then Peyton and Lacey. What the hell is this? You break up your only real tag team in your women's division in the Iconics just to pair up Peyton with Lacey Evans? What the hell is going on? They were the most real tag team you had. It is a complete waste, and I pray that they get them back together before Mania season because you're going to end up wasting both of them. Then on the SmackDown team, there are 2 women left to be announced. All right, well, it's the Riot Squad, Liv and Ruby, Bianca Belair. 2 more are going to be announced tonight on SmackDown. I think for sure Rhea Ripley is going to be one of them. After the way she lost to Io on NXT, what's left? That felt like her goodbye to NXT. I would have her debut on SmackDown tonight and then declare herself for the team. In terms of who the 5th member of Team SmackDown could be, I mean, Bayley. It has to be Bayley, right? What else is Bayley doing? I mean, I'm assuming she'll be interfering in a match later in the evening, but I don't see why you wouldn't book Bayley. Yeah, so I'll say Bayley and Rhea are the final 2 additions to Team SmackDown. So the way this one is going, I hate whatever the hell they're doing with Shayna, Nia, and Lana. It really just feels like Lana is being punished for her marriage to Miro. Miro, for those of you that don't know, is the former WWE star Rusev. Rusev and Lana are married in real life. Rusev, real name Miro, went to AEW and is competing there, and it feels like they're punishing Lana because her husband left the company. It really feels like that. Um, Best case scenario is they were doing this for a reason, and Lana's the sole survivor, but I am not betting on that. I'm not betting on Lana ever. And one more quick little thing. I hate Nia Jax. She shouldn't be allowed to wrestle. She injures a different wrestler every month. She's trash. She's never been good. Get her out of my fucking face. I am going with Team SmackDown to win, though. I think Bianca needs to go on an absolute tear. I wouldn't even mind seeing Bianca eliminate everybody. Now that I said Rhea's in the match, I think it could almost be like I almost want Rhea and Bianca to become like what, if you remember Survivor Series, man, like 2011 when it was the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth versus Rock and Cena. And like Rock and Cena started to one up each other and compete with each other as they were beating Miz and Truth's ass. I want Bianca and Rhea to do that. And I want them to win. I think for the Lana story, I think she should be the last person out for Raw. Because all of the making fun of, all of the bullying, frankly, be a star, but your main female story right now is a bullying angle. Um, I think she'll be the last one there. I think Lana, there's got to be some comeuppance for Nia here. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe Lana costs her, gets her eliminated, something like that. We shall see. But I am going Team SmackDown with Rhea and Bianca as the sole survivors. Now we get on to the Raw tag match. I don't know if this main events. It's either this or Roman and Drew, and I'm gonna say Roman and Drew main events. So the teams that we have right now are AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, Riddle, Keith Lee, and Sheamus. That's a great team for Raw. Versus Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, the Messiah, Seth Rollins, and then there's one spot left. I think it's easy. It's Big E. It's got to be Big E. If it's not Big E, it's Buddy Murphy. But I think it's Big E, but Buddy Murphy interferes to get Seth eliminated. Because Seth is taking time off after Survivor Series because Becky Lynch, his wife, I don't know if they're actually married, his partner, is incredibly pregnant. So this will be his last night for a while. So I think he goes out. He'll probably be the first elimination of the match, frankly. Get him out early. But for this one, I'm going Team Raw. The segments have been a little cringy. I don't mind them that much. They're fun. Um, I love AJ. AJ is just world class. He's hilarious. I'm a fan of Riddle. Apparently, Sheamus might be getting ready for a Drew McIntyre feud. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody on Raw gets eliminated. Maybe only AJ gets eliminated. The reason I'm so low on SmackDown, just look at that Team Raw. AJ, Braun, Keith, Sheamus, and Riddle. Those are all guys that WWE are fully behind and could be receiving title pushes anytime. Sheamus, rumored to be getting a title push. Keith Lee, ready for a title push. Big Royal Rumble favorite. Riddle, potential Royal Rumble favorite. Braun, the resident Big Show. Like, he's the new Big Show. He's in the main event scene, and you don't know if he's heel or face. And then on Team SmackDown, the only way SmackDown wins is if Big E is the fifth man. If Big E's the fifth man, they've got a fighting chance, because I think Big E is the odds-on favorite right now to win the Royal Rumble. And this could be the build to his ascension to the main event. I just think everything going on... I mean, look how heel-heavy that team is as well, with Seth, Corbin, and Jay. I think between Jay and Owen, something's going to happen. I could see something between Corbin and Big E. I just think Raw dominates. I will say Sheamus and Keith Lee are the sole survivors for Team Raw. So I have SmackDown for the female elimination match, Raw for the men's elimination match. Now we get on to the mid-card match, the mid-card title match. Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley. This is an interesting one. I like these two. I like these two a lot. They had that awful angle a few years ago with Bobby Lashley's sisters, where it was clearly like men in drag. That whole thing. I think that was him and Sammy. That was ridiculous. Um, I think Sammy's doing the best work of his career since NXT right now. I love this like renegade rebel fight for the underdog Sammy, even though he is still a heel. Bobby, I don't know if he's a heel or face because I don't know what the Hurt Business is anymore, frankly. Um, these are two good mid-card champions. I think the heavy betting money is for Bobby. Most people I've seen predict this are going Bobby. I am going to say Sami Zayn pulls out the W over Bobby Lashley, and I think Retribution cost Bobby Lashley the match and potentially sets up a match later in the evening between, because I don't get the whole rumors and innuendo of Survivor Series was that it was going to be Retribution versus Team WWE, and Retribution was going over. So I think maybe this match, maybe Sammy and Bobby open the show so that there's enough time to get to Retribution versus Hurt Business. I would love that. So I would have Sammy go over in the opening match of the night with help from the Retribution, and then either right away or later in the night, I would have Retribution versus the Hurt Business in an elimination match. So that would be what? Ali, T-Bar, Mace, and Slapjack versus Shelton, Bobby, Cedric, and MVP. I would set that up later in the night. And if it happens, have Retribution go over. I'm not going to make an official prediction for that because it's not on the card, but I would say Retribution go over. So Retribution cost Bobby the match. Sami Zayn gets a W. Now we are going on to the tag team titles. This feels like, my God, this is a dream match. The New Day, the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Street Profits, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I love Montez Ford. If I'm being honest, I think once WrestleMania season comes and goes, WWE needs to consider how long do we keep Angelo with Montez, because I think Montez Ford is a future WWE champion. I think he has some of the most charisma I've seen since The Rock in terms of raw electricity. His athleticism is bar none. Like, it's up there with the best of them. He's so fun to watch in the ring. His expressions, his mannerisms. And Angelo's good, but there's a star and then there's a superstar, and that's what Montez is. These two, I almost wouldn't waste this on a Survivor Series. I feel like a lot of these matches, Drew and Roman, Profits and New Day, it's like the appetizer of what could be a better feud later. I would honestly, I don't know if you do it here or you wait until these two can feud over the tag titles. That's the biggest thing that I think is a missed opportunity of having them on separate brands right now. I want a New Day Street Profits feud. These are the two best tag teams in WWE. Arguably two of the best tag teams in the world. Shout out to FTR getting number one on the new PWI. Fuck the Young Bucks. Overrated scrubs. But New Day's won everything. They could never win another match and they wouldn't lose anything. So because of that, I think the Street Profits have to get the W here. And honestly, I'm trying to think of what the tag scene is on Raw. You want to get this New Day thing going on Raw? You want to create something different? Turn them heel. Have the Street Profits win the match. Maybe Angelo rolls up Xavier or Montez rolls up Kofi. And it looks like they're about to have like a hug in the ring. Maybe Montez offers a cup to Kofi and Angelo to Xavier or something. And then the New Day just beats the shit out of them. I think that's the way you go. You have to do something different with Kofi and Xavier since they left Big E. Big E is clearly not turning heel. He might be the next face of the company. So I think you have to turn Kofi and Xavier heel. I think Xavier as a heel is going to be incredible. I think him on the mic as a heel will be untouchable. So yeah, I'm going Street Profits, and I would turn the New Day heel. Now we get to the women's, the semi-main event, or the co-main event, the Raw Women's Champion, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Asuka, takes on, I think, my favorite female wrestler ever, the SmackDown Women's Champion, the Boss, Sasha Banks. This is a match we've seen a ton, and I gotta be honest, I never get tired of it. I love both of these women. These are my two favorite women's wrestlers of the last decade plus. More than Becky, more than Charlotte, more than Bayley, more than AJ Lee, more than anybody. I love Asuka and I love Sasha. These are like two of my favorite female wrestlers. These are my two favorite female wrestlers ever. I think right now Sasha is riding this like almost meteoric like momentum wave between the Mandalorian, between the Hell in a Cell that was excellent with Bayley. Just Sasha is on a wave right now, and I love it. She deserves it. Have her hold that SmackDown title for a while. Now, as I say, Sasha is riding a huge wave of momentum. On this side of things, Asuka ain't doing shit. I don't watch the weekly programs. I'm not going to lie to you. I read the results every night and then watch the highlights. I don't even know who Asuka's feuding with at the moment. I genuinely don't. If I look at the other women on the Raw team, who could I see Asuka going with next? I mean, Shayna would be cool. Peyton would be cool. Maybe Lana as a thank you for going through a table for 2 months. But Asuka needs a rub here. I don't think Sasha loses anything by laying down in this match. Like I said, her momentum can't die. She's in the Mandalorian. Everything about Sasha right now is big bucks. I would put Asuka over for that reason, so Asuka can get some momentum going. It's funny. I was going to say that coming out of this match, I would want Sasha versus Bianca. But with bringing Rhea up and putting her on SmackDown earlier, I almost want like a best of 7 between Bianca and Rhea, where they just beat the hell out of each other for a few months to really establish the next wave of female wrestlers on SmackDown. Those two, Bianca and Rhea, are two future WrestleMania main event caliber talents, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind going into a triple threat or a fatal 4-way with Sasha, Bianca, Rhea, and you throw Bayley into that. That's going to be a high work rate match. But in terms of Survivor Series, I've got Asuka going over, and that's because she needs help. She needs momentum. She needs something to give her a spark, or they've just got to get the title off of her. I hate that because, as I've said, Asuka's my girl. I love Asuka, but you got to do something with her, and you got to do something good. I don't want just another run-in-the-mill title feud with, like, fucking Lacey Evans where there's no heat to it. Give Asuka a real feud. Hell, send Rhea to Raw and have Asuka turn heel on her and do heel Asuka and face Rhea. Or heel Rhea, face Asuka. Either works. Asuka needs momentum, though, and it starts with a win over Sasha. Now, main event time. This is a wild one, because when Randy won the main event of Hell in a Cell, I assumed it was because they weren't going to give Drew Roman away at such an early date. I figured they were like, let's just do Randy and Roman at the pay-per-view. Drew and Roman is like a future WrestleMania main event. I don't know if you guys have heard the interview Triple H did recently, but he said like Drew and Roman, if you let that marinate for a few years, I suggest you let that one marinate. If you let that marinate for a few years, maybe 2 years, a year, this year could even work. But if you let that marinate, Roman and Drew is a WrestleMania main event. I think Triple H said along the lines of Hogan Macho, along the lines of Rock, Austin, and I agree. I think Drew is the top babyface in the company. Roman's the top heel in the company. I don't think anybody's gonna pass them on that hierarchy. I said earlier, Big E has potential to be a face of the company. I think Keith Lee has potential to be a face of the company. Riddle, the KO. There's a lot of guys. Big E, but Drew is that top babyface right now, and I don't think anybody's dethroning him for a while. And Roman Reigns is the best wrestler in the world right now. Sorry, John Moxley. Sorry, I don't know. I don't watch Japanese wrestling, and that's not like a fuck you or anything offensive. I just don't have access to it, so I can't put up an argument for anybody in Japan. So if you want to tell me why Okada's the best in the world, tell me. But I think Roman, in terms of storytelling, in terms of big fight feel and legitimacy, Roman is the top guy in wrestling right now. He's the top heel in wrestling right now. He's incredible. If I could see any feud in wrestling, I'd probably want to see the Cleaner versus Roman. But this match, man, whoo! I can't believe it's happening. Frankly, even when Drew won, I was like, is the Miz gonna cash in, and they're gonna have Roman destroy the Miz? Maybe, but no, it's straight up gonna happen. Roman and Drew, unless the Miz cashes in tonight, which if he does, I'll fucking eat my hat. um, now it's happening, which means you have to book a finish, which is why I would have never done it. Which is why I would have had Randy in this spot. Or frankly, I would have had The Miz in this spot. I would have had The Miz cash in on Randy. I would have had Randy retain the WWE title against Drew on Raw after The Miz interfered, made it a triple threat, and pinned Randy. Drew doesn't get beat. Drew doesn't have to be in this match, and now it's an easy finish. Roman destroys him. Here, I genuinely it's shit because it's not going to be a finish. It's going to be a non-finish. It's going to be a DQ, or it's going to be they beat the shit out of each other in the audience and it's thrown out. Nobody's getting pinned in this match. I cannot see that happening. Neither of these men can take a pinfall right now. Bottom line, and not from each other. They need to be built as opposing forces all the way up to a WrestleMania main event where they unify the belts. And whether that's this year, next year, or what, or if they're not unifying the belts, they're fighting for one of the belts. Whatever it is, Roman and Drew needs to main event to Mania. I think it's the best way to do it here is just to have them go out there and beat the hell out of each other for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then you have it all get screwy. The Raw main event scene is wild, so I think you probably bring out Randy. You probably bring out The Miz. Depending on how the elimination match goes, maybe somebody from there comes out like Sheamus. Then I assume that brings out Jey Uso to defend the big dog. Maybe even Jimmy shows up. I think it all gets thrown out, essentially. The winner, I am going to say, will be Roman. I think Randy slides into the ring and hits an RKO on Roman, stares Drew down, and then as they're staring each other down intensely, it's announced over the loudspeaker that Roman is won by DQ. I wouldn't have Roman down long. I think Roman gets right back up and beats the shit out of Randy. And then him and Drew probably continue to fight. And then you have The Miz come out, and he tries to get involved. But then Jay comes out because he's afraid The Miz might cash in on Roman. It should be a whole schmaz. Like, it should just be wild. That's the way you protect both of these guys, and that's the way you protect your investment in both of these guys. I hate seeing screwy finishes on pay-per-views, but if there's ever a time, it's now. There's no title on the line. There's no fucking stakes anyway. So right now, doing a tally, I have one for SmackDown, one for Raw, one for SmackDown, one for SmackDown, one for Raw. Hold on. What the hell's happening here? Oh, wow. So, the way I have it going. Oh, I have it tied. So I have SmackDown winning the women's. I have SmackDown winning for Sammy. And I have SmackDown winning for the Profits. I have Raw winning the men's. I have Raw winning for Asuka. Oh, shit. And I have Roman winning for SmackDown. So let's change that. I think Drew gets the W. I think they're gonna tie, is what I'm saying. Or no, I didn't think about who I wanted to win the night, and it comes down to this: going into the main event, it'll be 3-2. SmackDown will have 3. Raw will have 2. So it'll be down to Drew to win it for Raw, or to tie it for Raw. Oh no, so yeah, we will stay with Roman winning, and that makes it 4-2 SmackDown, because I think SmackDown wins this. SmackDown, 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 SmackDown. Yeah, I think SmackDown wins the night. NXT won last year. I think Raw swept SmackDown one year. Put some respect on SmackDown's name and have them win Survivor Series. Now, the thing I am most excited for. 30 years of The Undertaker. He's not retiring. He's setting up one last match, I think. Whether this is the final angle of I think it has to be the final angle of the show. This is what it all should be built around. Have a big ol' ceremony. Maybe even just have Taker come out as Mark Calloway, not even as The Undertaker. A bunch of people singing his praises. And then as he goes to say rest in peace one more time, lights out. And then you hear it. The Fiend. Alexa Bliss and The Fiend will attack The Undertaker. Will leave him motionless. Will destroy every legend there. Any legend that's been booked. The Godfather's going to be there. A bunch of the BSK guys who were in Undertaker's crew back in the day are going to be there. I've heard Kurt Angle's going to be there. If you're there, you're taking a Mandible Claw or you're taking a Sister Abigail from Alexa Bliss. I want Alexa and Bray to lay every legend out to end Survivor Series. And the main event, maybe not the main event, the big hype match set up for Mania this year, the one everyone wants, the one we've got to end his career on, Firefly Funhouse match, Undertaker, The Fiend. Boom. He's not retiring, and if he is, cool, I need The Fiend out of him. And if it's just an angle where he attacks him, not setting up a match, fine. But The Undertaker's got to put The Fiend over. He has to. The Undertaker, in my opinion, he's a legend. I love him. He's in my top 5 wrestlers ever, but he fucked Bray Wyatt when he beat him at that WrestleMania. The same way John Cena fucked Bray Wyatt when he beat him at WrestleMania. The whole character of The Fiend was made... Excuse me. The entire reason The Fiend was made was to make the people who wronged Bray pay. If anybody made Bray suffer, it was The Undertaker. He should have put him over. He should have made him the next face of fear. Instead, he buried him. So The Fiend gets his payback here tonight, ending Survivor Series with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss over a prone Mark Calloway. You want to get real crazy? Have The Fiend destroy Michelle McCool. Have The Fiend scare The Undertaker's daughter. Make this shit real. Make this about The Fiend versus Mark Calloway. We're not really interested in The Undertaker anymore. The Boneyard match was Mark Calloway more than it was The Undertaker. All these interviews they're doing, The Undertaker has been on every fucking interview or podcast show he could be on over the last year. It's all about Mark Calloway, and I want the Fiend Bray Wyatt to tear Mark Calloway apart. Beat him up, beat up his wife, and then you don't get physical with the daughter, but you scare her. He's a killer clown. Literally, you could have him poke his head into a room and she screams and cries and jumps into her dad's arms. And he's like, what? And she's like, the clown, the clown. And he just looks. And that's how you tease that the Fiend is coming. So, guys, I've got SmackDown taking the night. Let me get my book. One more time, I've got the SmackDown women's team beating Raw. I've got the Raw men's team beating SmackDown. I've got Sammy beating Bobby with help of Retribution. I actually wouldn't mind Sammy joining Retribution. Then I've got the Street Profits beating the New Day and the New Day turning heel in a post-match. I've got Asuka and Sasha. I assume Bayley gets involved there. And then I've got Roman winning by DQ over Drew after a whole screwy finish. In the female elimination match, I have Rhea and Bayley taking the 2 final spots. And the final spot on the SmackDown men's team, I have Big E taking that. And to close the show, The Fiend destroys The Undertaker. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. It went a little longer than I intended. But once I start talking about the things I love, it just kind of goes. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Give me your predictions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share this video for me if you can. And with everything being said, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Goose out. Ha!